membership.
Well,
Because I'm not reserved.
no,
Well,
I think that
oh, there's Paige.
It's
not good, it's all red, man.
We are 5:30, Mr. Crozier, if you would like to begin.
Oh, good, well, everybody's here.
Everybody's here.
Yes.
All right, no camera either.
Oh,
Yes.
no, we have the secret
What?
spy camera now.
Spy camera.
Well, because this is very neat.
Yeah,
This is
well,
part of the
yeah.
whole stuff, huh? Didn't realize that. All right, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. We're gonna call to order the committee agenda for Monday, September 19th. First item we're gonna take out of order here is city development and planning, and we're gonna have a presentation regarding the Smart Cities Commission. And I'll call upon Mr. Little, and of course the mayor to introduce, or whatever you would like to do there, sir.
Just appreciate the council taking the time to hear this tonight, and fortunate to have Mark Little, who's chairing the Smart City Commission, a long distinguished career at GE, and has agreed at the beginning of this year to share his talents with the city, and doing some exciting things, and look to continue to build on that. And just wanted to update the council as we go forward and what has happened, some things that are currently under consideration, and then also just going forward with things that help set Schenectady apart from other communities.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for having me here tonight. I'm delighted to have the opportunity to tell you about what we're doing and what we're thinking about in Smart City in Schenectady. I'd be happy to answer any of your questions anytime during the presentation. Just feel free to interrupt me. I'll tell you whatever I can. I would like to get your support behind what we're trying to do here. I think we're on the verge of something very exciting for the city. I think we can make a difference. And your support will matter as we go work with vendors who really want to do something very interesting in Schenectady. I'll explain that to you in just a second. So, you know, I'm sure that the mayor has formed the Smart City Council to look at the technology and the possibilities here in Schenectady. These are the members. It's a great mix of people with a very strong mix of skills. Let's just run down here so you don't need to strip the mayor's introduction. Keisha Gold was the CTO of the state of New York. Most recently, has a very strong background in technology and applications for government. Tony Civitella has founded Transmart, you know, right across the street here in Schenectady. Great new startup business, very high-tech business. John Augustine, the Augustine publisher of the Sept, a media representation, Bill Morris, from projects you know the city and issues very well. Teresa Pardo from academia, great background in smart government across many aspects of that. Larry Springs, superintendent for schools, and Tom Wilson here from the construction industry, outstanding project management. This is a really nice mix of skills. We meet regularly in this room. We talk about where we should be going, put together a roadmap for the city, which I will show you in just a second. Really great group of people trying to do something nice for the city. Our vision is to make Schenectady an outstanding place to live and to work. We really want to drive sustainability as we do this and have something that's not just here tomorrow, but lasts a long, long time. And leadership is very high on our screen. We have a chance to do something that leads not only for Schenectady, but for New York State, possibly the country, and possibly the world. And I'll explain to you why I think that. I'm going to talk to you about some of the technology elements of this. This has to do with things you hear a lot about, data and analytics, mesh networks allow you to gather up and share information, and seamless grid connectivity. I want to show you some of these pieces and talk to you about what we do. Just to go a layer deeper on this, the way we start to think about this is the world is shifting to LED lighting, lighted lighting. This is a lighting technology that is demonstrably much, much more efficient than the lights we have in our city here today. In the United States of America, there are about 1 billion streetlights. They will all be changed to LEDs. This is not an if, it's it's a when. And the reason it is a when is because the energy savings from doing that are so significant that the payback of that is very robust. And the economics are really driving that. And the quality of the lighting is much better. If you have to send somebody up a light pole to do some work, you have to ask yourself, can I do something else incrementally low cost to get another benefit from it? And that's what we're talking about. We can put sensors up on these light poles to gather information like video sensors, you could have environmental sensors, many different kind of things. You can find ways to connect up the information from those lights. So imagine smart lights that not only are much more energy efficient and lower cost for the city, but that can dim themselves or enhance their lighting when people come and go. So imagine a part of the city where there's nobody there, the lights you know that, they can turn off the lights or they can dim the lights, and then imagine somebody comes in, the lights go back up again. So imagine a parking lot, nothing going on, lights are either off or dim, somebody comes in, the lights go up. It's going to make you feel a lot better. And all of a sudden you're in a place where the lights are bright, things are reacting, and you'll know there'll be cameras there watching what's going on. That leads into all kinds of applications you can think about. So where are we going with this? Having the cameras, you can get obvious security kinds of things, or never mind the smart lighting. There'll be sensors in there that can look at weather conditions, they can look at water conditions, a number of different ways that are interesting to the city. You can use the cameras to do traffic management. You can use it for parking, so you can tell the citizens, yes, there's a free space on J Street, yes, there's one on State Street. You could, if you wanted, manage the parking meters in a different way. You can know exactly when somebody's meter ran out. You can tell them that their meter's about to run out. You can tell the city, you'll provide if they're in it. Many, many, many different things. We're trying to explore the space of opportunities to get really good paybacks for this technology. Just to give you a sense of the lighting here. The light before would look like this. The light after would look like this. And the decorate up doesn't really look much different. What you see here are the video cameras on this light. And this is the package that communicates the information that's being gathered in this area. As you probably know, we have a Cisco pilot going on here in Schenectady today. And it goes basically from Erie Boulevard to Lafayette Street. You get a number of lights there that are equipped with smart lighting. So we're just starting to learn the capability of this equipment. What we're seeing so far is that the lights are even more efficient than we thought they would be. The savings will be stronger than we thought. That's quite interesting. We also have Wi-Fi that's available in this area. So we're learning what the strength of the signal is. I'm over there in the area, and I put my cell phone on, I get a very strong Wi-Fi connection right away. There are things we can do with that. We can provide, as you probably know, that people go to libraries, try to get access to Wi-Fi connections. We could provide that. You get into technical issues around bandwidth. We provided all the citizens with infinite bandwidth, where we could be downloading Netflix movies or other things, gang up the system because everyone's only limited bandwidth. But there are ways to control that. So you could say, for these applications, you have this kind of bandwidth. Like for students in school who might want to do their homework remotely, as many cities and towns do. You provide them with that kind of bandwidth. Well, you can limit them from doing things like having everybody download Netflix at once. These are the kinds of things we're learning about. We're learning about the penetration of the Wi-Fi infrastructures. You may know that Wi-Fi is just like any other kind of radio. You can only go so far into a building. You might see this in your own home if you have Wi-Fi. And what we're learning is that from some of the heavy structures, you get limited penetration into the building. But that's easily solved by a very low-cost transmitter that can pick up the signal and amplify it into the building. So for a retail business, that would be very easy. We've done a study in a different part of town that we are just, I haven't seen the results yet, but it's coming soon, where they've done a study to see how far the Wi-Fi can penetrate into wooden-type structures, as you would have in many residential areas. So it opens up a whole host of possibilities that are quite interesting for the citizens and the retailers. We have a pilot, as I mentioned, in Cisco on Lower Union Street. General Electric has one underway here, will be on State Street. Verizon is talking to us. They'll be coming into our Smart City Commission quite soon to talk about what they would do and where they would do it. Their technology would be wireless cellular technology from Wi-Fi. And you probably know that Assemblyman Senator Barbara has allocated some money to be doing something over on Pleasantbury. So we're starting to get a number of prototypes going on in the city. These are really interesting learning laboratories for us as we explore this technology. We want to make Schenectady an innovation hub. As I said, we have vendor prototypes. And just let me pause on this. I'm going to show you in a second the number of companies we have. It's fascinating to me that we have such strong interest from such big companies. You all know I came from GE. The most senior people at GE are very, very interested in building out the city. Cisco is another big company, very interested in building out the city. I won't tell you the individual name wasn't there, honestly, but the mayor and I had a telepresence with the most senior people at Cisco because they want to build out the city. So pause and think about that. Say, why would these high-powered business people be focused on Schenectady? And not only that, because they are doing work in other places. The thing that's singular about Schenectady is that we have a progressive mayor who's talking loudly, and I'll show you the loudness of the talking, about building out the whole city and doing it fast. And what they see is an opportunity to build a prototype that would be a great example, as I said, for New York, for the United States, and maybe for the world. For a city of this size, of which there are very many around the country, so they want to see something happen here quickly. The reason that's important to me, and I hope to you as well, is that we can leverage their enthusiasm for doing something that's connected to get a big deal. And what I would like to come away from this meeting is your support, so we can go to them and say, we are all in to do this. We're ready to make it happen. You do your part to make it happen. I think with that, we can do something good to the city. We want to build open platforms. This is the idea of, just think about Apple with their platform. They have a platform on their cell phone and their computer stuff. Where people can write programs. It's made open to anybody, so anybody can build an application. You have to pay feedback to Apple for using their system. So imagine we have a system that people use and they might pay a fee to the city for using our platform. And the vendors might get something out of that. They might build out applications around the world that might be interesting as well. We have great universities here. As I'll show you, I went to the college and talked to them involved. The Electric City Innovation Center people are involved in a significant way. I'll say something about that. There's some challenges. We've already had some outreach to the public. We will do more as we put these technologies in their hands. They can help us learn what to do. I think this slide says a lot, just by looking at the visual. We have a lot of interesting people working and focusing on Schenectady. I mentioned GE and Cisco, Verizon senior people are very involved. City of Necessity are companies who are built up around smart cities. They're very much focused here. National Grid, we need to be working with cooperatively to get them to help us work their lighting systems to our end effect, so we'd like some support on that. Corning, one of the great companies that does fiber, is very interested in working with Schenectady. They've had at their senior levels contact with the mayor. We have strong community engagement. We've got the Mayor's Institute. This is something that the mayor is involved in. They came here to see us. They are willing to work with us on doing some things, I would call it architecturally to the city, to enable the city to make better use of this technology and to address some things in the city. You have Wise Labs over here at the Electric City Innovation Center, a strong partner in this whole thing. You have CMA, the consulting firm around software, actively engaged here. You have Ellis Medicine, well, full disclosure, I'm on the board of Ellis Medicine now. They want to help us do something with smart healthcare technology. You may know that there are zoner and transfinder activities going on here in Schenectady where we have connected devices and we're learning from the way the vehicles go, how they're used, so we can use them more efficiently and more effectively. We can route things better through the city, have our buses and our collection vehicles collecting things more efficiently with better routing. And Wakefield gives us an opportunity, they're located here over that's where Berkey used to be. They have an opportunity to connect on devices. So the message is there are lots of very cool and significant companies focused on doing something cool and interesting here. That is amazing. I don't want to take you through this in detail unless you ask me specific questions about it. But these are elements that the council has put together for us to be addressing as we roll out this technology. Certainly, we want to use this technology to make our government services much more efficient, so we get a cost benefit for the city operating side, and we, more importantly, get a benefit for our citizens, and the city more efficient, effective government. We want to use the information we gather, the ability to store it, sort it, all of that, really make it the city much more effective. There are safety elements we want to keep right at the top of things, and even the retail people who we talk to are quite interested in that kind of thing. For instance, they'll say, well, if we're going to have cameras in the street, I'll be able to see what's going on in front of my store. I'd really like to know that, because sometimes people go around and do naughty things, like rip up my shrubs. I'd be able to see who did it, and prevent them, inhibit them from doing that in the first place. We really have an opportunity to lead, and we can provide access to technologies to some of our citizens, which is something we don't have today. For me, that's very interesting. Connectivity for all is along the same lines, social responsibility, having our not-for-profits use this technology in an effective way. There are ways to get more revenue, some of which I mentioned. This should enable us to lower our energy burden in the city and be greater. And we really want to be sure that we're reaching out to our citizens on a continuing basis as we think about the future. We started that in current. There's been a lot of external engagement. I just want to call your attention to this, because I think this too is quite interesting. Mayor's Institute on City Design, I referenced them, they're going to do some work for us here. They came to see us here in this very room. The mayor and some of the folks here, Keisha Monroe and others went to the conference in Austin, did a lot of publicity for Schenectady. The mayor and I went over to MIT for their Smart City Conference. I'm very good to know us over there. I wrote a paper for even the National Electric Manufacturers Association about what's going on in Schenectady. That's a publication that has about 70,000 people who watch it. These are people who are very much interested in the technology and applications of it in the energy industry. We had a number of presentations to the public. We got an award from the Capital Region Chamber of Commerce, and I went just last Friday to pick up an award on behalf of the mayor of Schenectady. You see the award right here. And I think this is a fascinating thing in and of itself. We got the award for Best in New York for Smart City Applications. Once again, calling attention to the recognition that Schenectady is ahead of the curve. We have an opportunity to do something great for our citizens and to lead this well. So going forward, our plan looks like this. The pilots that I mentioned to you should unfold over the course of the end of this year. We're learning a lot as we go. We're learning how to work with the vendors more effectively. I do believe that with your support, we can get them to give us a very good deal to do something tonight. We're going to have a Smart City Challenge. You will see this quite publicly coming up here soon. The folks at the Electric City Innovation Center are working with us on this. The idea for this is that we will have a public outreach. We'll have several phases to it. We'll ask our citizens and the business people to give us their best ideas about what might be done with this kind of technology. Then we'll synthesize those best ideas, give some nice awards. They won't be big money awards, but there'll be nice recognition around those ideas. And then we will try to build on those ideas around some specific ideas on how to apply them. The culmination of all this should be some real applications that can go to work and Schenectady and utilize better. And then with all of that in hand, my dream, or the mayor's dream, is to build out the whole city and do it quickly and effectively in a way that benefits us. So that's our story. I am very excited about it. I hope you will share my enthusiasm. If I can answer any questions about this, I would be delighted.
You mentioned a couple of times about building, that currently it's from Erie to Lafayette, and about building out the rest of the city. Do you have any idea what the time frame would look like?
I think this is a couple or 3 year kind of process. The way I think about it, we'll learn from these pilots, then we'll figure out what parts of the city we can demonstrate the technology first. Like any big project, you want to do it in phases, so you can learn as you go. We can give you a manageable budget to do that kind of thing. So I think, in my mind, we could probably do a significant part of the city in a year or so. But to do the whole city, it might take 2 or 3 years. So.
No one else has a question? No. All right. Okay. You talked about the cameras, so the video feed or whatever they're using on the cameras. How long is it kept, and is it used for any other purpose? Is there an opportunity to use it for any other purpose, within the city, who is it shared with, I guess?
Yeah, so these are policy questions that the government folks will have to address. And it's with respect to how long you can save it, that is a cost question more than anything, because the cameras themselves are equipped to hold, in the way in this kind of standard form, they come in maybe 30 days worth of data. You could expand that to 90 days, but there's a cost to do that. You could send the data as we intend to, the data that you want to store, which will not be all of it. You can send that to the cloud and keep it for as long as you want, but that's not free either. So there'll be a question of what's the value, what's the expense of doing it, and those are all trade-offs we're going on with. So that the information will be there. We'll have policy questions that really the government has to answer about what they want to do with the data, who gets access to it, what purposes should be used for. And the citizens certainly will have a voice in what they want. Just to be sure that it's clear to you, the cameras that would, as I envision, would be in public areas on the streets of Schenectady. It would not be any other place. It would not be in the basement. It would not be any place where people have a right to privacy.
You mentioned the word cost, so what is the cost?
Well, it depends on what we do, but this is not a small ticket item. We're imagining that as best we know it now, I want to qualify this, with the quotes we have from the veterans, which I will say are quite high at this point. This is the start of the negotiation. And they will say, of course, they're quite low. We'll have that debate. This is where we need your support, because to the extent we go to and say, hey, the government's behind us, if you give us a good deal, we'll do it. Just to really answer your question, they're talking about something in the range of $20 to $30 million over the years that we're doing this thing now. Any other questions?
So, Mr. Ray, what are you looking for us to do? Anything today, or just continue the discussion, or
This
what
is
do you
just
need
an
from us?
update of what's going on, so not looking for any formal action at this point. Again, some of those numbers are, not some of them, those numbers are big, but if you look at the deployment we've done so far just on Lower Union Street, our savings has been greater than we expected in the lighting. So it's how do you structure this so that the city picks up the benefit from it, the school district, Ellis Medicine, community residents, and when you spread those numbers over a wider base, they become very realistic in terms of being able to deploy it and then actually having a return and providing value and an asset to the residents of this community.
So you're not looking for any action or anything at this point?
Unless you wanted to write a check to me.
Well, my friend, hey, we can do it. All right. Any other questions? Ms. Lurley, again, thank you very, very much. It sounds very exciting, and we look forward to more information coming to us. I think it's a great opportunity, and again, for the city of Schenectady, and we want to continue looking into this.
The other aspect of it is you learn about it, and as you begin to understand it, you think of other applications that may not have even been touched on tonight. And that's part of the ongoing community engagement, where we want people to think of the possibilities and to see what people want in their neighborhoods, want in their community. It's just part of that ongoing dialogue and discussion.
So we spoke about the pilot that's going on Union Street now. Are all those cameras and is all that apparatus in already?
It's all in. We did not. Just going to check with Jen Buccio this afternoon to make sure everything is working. I'm not 100% sure that everything has been fine-tuned and aligned. We've been still testing it, debugging it.
I think we can do a presentation on that, whether we can do it live here or if we have to go to some location or whatever, just to see how the cameras are working and everything else, to really visibly see firsthand.
We walked over as a commission and took a look at it. It's kind of interesting to see how the Wi-Fi signal works, what the cameras look like.
Wow, that's very exciting. Well, glad to have you on board. You got a great committee, there's no question about it.
Thanks.
My apologies for not coming to any of those meetings, but I know you guys have been meeting on a regular basis.
Would you be willing to share your PowerPoint with us, just so for some finer points? My neck was starting, the old age is settling in my neck here, so. That would be great, thank you.
Okay.
All right, good. Have a good afternoon. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. All right, and if I can just call for a motion to recess our committee, correct? Would that be all right? Or you want to continue through?
Go ahead.
You okay to zip
Yeah,
through
go ahead.
it? Well, thank you. So let's go through item number 1 here, resolution of support for Restore New York funding. Ms. Van Steen, are you here? Yes, you are.
Here.
All right, so this is the final part of going around the Restore New York grant application. It's due in a few weeks. The required public hearing happened, I believe, last cycle, and at this point, we're asking for authorization to apply, which also includes a resolution of support with specific bullet points that the state is requiring to go into the resolution. So there's a series of different forms of investment for, I think it's 16 properties, one of which is listed twice, depending on what we end up doing with it. So this is the required format that the state application has, so that's why the bullet point being on. To our best knowledge, as of this moment, we have certain things listed for reconstruction, rehabilitation, demolition, etc. So, and it's all commercially corridor driven, so what we did pick either is a commercial building or something that also highlights a commercial corridor, even though it's a residential property.
Any questions on this? Ms. Borgo?
We just had the public hearing, so is there still opportunity for people, is that public hearing period still open so people can submit information writing, or was it just that particular day?
I would think that you can still submit information. So there's another public hearing, I believe, being posted. There was a little snafu with the posting, so we're having another one to make sure. It had to be posted for 3 days in a row. And the Gazette, not my friend, but the Gazette didn't do it right, so we have to do it again just to make sure we get it in legally. So we're having another one. So I would say that anybody who wants to submit comments can submit comments up until October 1st to my attention in my office.
And I also requested that information come proactively to the council, like automatically, so we don't have to go. So whatever information is taken in at the public hearing will automatically
Be
be sent
forwarded to us. Okay, so at this point, do we need a resolution to support this? That's what we're saying? So we still have more questions? Oh, wait, she's got a lot of questions today, this lady here. Go ahead, you're a good job.
There's an address which seems like it's in the middle of a residential area, but it's, it's number 5.
That is a very very large brick building on the corner of Page and Albany Street.
Oh, okay.
It's next to Andy's Ski Shop.
Now
Yeah.
I'll move this, but there's no more questions.
I'm just so glad to see Costello's and the Union on there. I mean, my goodness, those are the eyesores. So good job, good selections. And moved by Mr. Mulder, second by Ms. Porterfield. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And then, thanks, Ms. Mancini. All right, and then we have a ceremonial resolution for Mr. Deryck Singh. Mr. Mulder.
Yeah, this is a ceremonial resolution recognizing Mr. Singh for his community service in Schenectady.
All right, and second by Mr. Mulder. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And update with Schenectady Manufacturing Week. Mr. Putnam, go right ahead, sir. Jack.
Sure. So thank you, Mr. Kozier, for the opportunity just to provide the City Council a brief update with regards to Schenectady's Manufacturing Week. And I will share that it's been an honor and a privilege to chair Schenectady's Manufacturing Week with the blessing of the mayor, as well as Council President Lisa Ferrazzo. You can see on the legislative request, it talks a little bit about some of the committee members that have been part of Manufacturing Week Committee, which really is an ad hoc group of folks that have come together and been working collectively since 2013, the movie screening that we did of the American-made movie back in 2013, and it's evolved to include some of the programs and activities that I'll talk about briefly. But just some of the committee participants so that others are aware, we're fortunate to have the Center for Economic Growth involved, Congressman Paul Tonko's office, Mohonasen and Ballston Spa school districts, MySci, as well as some local manufacturers, including Applied Robotics, STS Steel, Casavisco, and this year, just in the last couple of conference calls that we've had, both SI and Global Foundries have gotten involved with the work that we're doing. So we're excited on the developments that are coming about. Manufacturing Week ties in with National Manufacturing Day, which is always the first Friday of October. So that's actually October 7th this year. And the City of Schenectady, we're excited to host, we're going to be doing 2 things. On Thursday, October 6th, there's actually going to be a press conference with some of the stakeholders that I mentioned, taking place at Wise Labs at Center City on the 4th floor, and that is open to the public. That'll be at 10:30 in the morning. So we'll be talking about some of the exciting events that are happening during the course of Manufacturing Week, including factory tours for area students touring factories, as well as some other exciting events. And then on Friday, October 7th, we will be hosting Flavors of Schenectady, kind of talking a little bit about food manufacturing in and around the city of Schenectady. And that event's going to be a lunchtime social from 12 to 1 at my side, featuring some wonderful Italian flavors that Aideen Vespucci with Casa Visco will be pulling together with us, as well as Gatherers Granola. We have some folks coming over from Mahonison School District and SCC's culinary program, as well as the Beekman 1802 Mercantile is going to have a table there with us as well. So Council President Lisa Ferrazzo will be emceeing, co-hosting that with Aideen, and we're also fortunate to have Assemblyman Angelo Sanabarbaro joining us as well. So those are just some of the events. We will be having this information available on the city website, and there is a Facebook page, but certainly if people have more questions, they can reach me in the clerk's office.
All right. Is there a charge for the luncheon, Mr. Putnam, or how does
It is
that work?
free and open to the public.
Favorite four-letter word. Percent sale. All right. Any other calls? There's nothing to.
No action to move on this, right? It's just a discussion.
All right. Any questions by any chance? Anybody? Jan, again, we're very proud of you, and I know last year, didn't we do it last year? You had the presentation in the Proctors at the GE Theater?
Last year, we actually hosted a Women in Manufacturing panel
Yes.
at my side.
We had the film and everything, and wonderful. And again, just great. Thank you for taking the lead and continuing the lead on this. I think it's very important to our city. Okay, we did the Smart Cities presentation, so if I can have a motion to recess. The other three items are all in executive session. Mr. Montevero, second by Ms. Porterfield, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And we are recessed. Thank you.
Okay, and I will call to order finance. The first thing up is the 2016 budget reappropriation and OGS reorganization from Mayor McCarthy.
Submitted the request to align the budget with some of the staffing changes that we've made. We ask the council's favorable consideration.
Can you go through, I don't know if we have to go into executive session for this, but can you tell me, like, who's holding what position right now?
Well, specifically, just Paul can go through. Get question on a particular line.
I'd like to go look through it line by line. If you could.
There were a couple appointments. The director of solid waste appointment. There's an acting director currently in this position. So we'd like to move him from acting director to permanent director. Again, provisional based on civil service requirements for testing.
But who is that? That's a
That would be Floyd Slater.
And what is the ultimate salary attached to that position?
It was 72,000.
Okay. And the senior solid waste supervisor?
The senior solid waste supervisor, you have to help me on this point.
What we're doing is
that changes because we moved some positions from senior solid waste supervisor that was doing a job that was the job as a fleet, right?
yes. So what was happening is the senior solid supervisor was we're going to eliminate that
So we
position.
moved that into a fleet manager's position.
We're using the months to make that a fleet manager. Because that position actually was I think working with Davis previously.
Yes.
And the salary was 83,000. So actually we're as Floyd as director, we're cutting that salary down to 72.
Okay, and the office manager?
The office manager is,
Was Jeremy Howard. And that position is being changed to Director of Property Management at $72,000.
what Jeremy understood is sort of not only director of property management, he's also
Parks and Staff.
he's also doing parks and staffs too, so.
The Director of Property Management is responsible for the park operation, and then again, the property management staff and the nuisance control officers. For violations on all school property, whether it's overgrown,
You gotta speak louder, we can't hear this.
The Director of Property Management covers the parks program and the staff program, which is also known as the Neighborhood Revitalization Program. So, and they fall under the nuisance compliance officers also.
Okay. And then the overtime line is self-explanatory. And then the junior civil engineer, we're eliminating.
Yes, and that's going to be into a new job title, which is the Innovation Performance Specialist.
And what exactly is that?
With all the technology that we are looking at now, the data we're getting from smart cities, from electric cars to the TransMinder, we need somebody to manage this data, generate reporting, and actually it's like an analyst to look at all these reports and everything that we pursue other training opportunities with technology.
And what salary is being proposed to be attached to that?
He's going to be at 51,853.
50 what?
51,853.
And do we have someone filling that position?
Currently, no, not in that position.
And the seniors?
We have somebody with the,
Go ahead.
sorry, and with the Eric Shannon. It's a new title. He's a junior civil.
So it would be Eric moving into that position?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Exactly, we can't.
It's a junior civil. We're eliminating the junior civil and making that an innovation specialist position. And that was Eric Shannon was a junior civil and moving into the innovation specialist.
All right, so, just to clarify, so this person will be, performing the duties that are currently the duties of a junior?
No,
He will not, that goes away.
These are largely all new duties that are being assigned and work with Mark Little, putting some of the presentations you saw here, what's been done, and implementing the Zonar TransFinder technology, managing the fleet. And it's just the ongoing deployment of the technology that we're using and being able to collect the data back and then formulate better management practices from that information.
And then the senior civil engineer? Because I thought Eric was the senior civil engineer.
But right now, it's a vacant position right now, and we're using a portion of $1,100 of that to make up for the difference in pay.
That position's vacant now?
Correct.
Because I thought there was a significant salary increase in that line for last year's budget. Why did we increase it if that position was vacant? Am I mixing something up?
We've applied for many times, I think 3 times we've requested postings out of that.
We've had trouble recruiting people for that position because the salary being so low.
Well, actually a low salary.
So we're gonna outsource this work like we're doing now with the casino? I mean, is this gonna cost us more on
No, we don't
the
outsource.
back end?
The only thing we don't outsource any engineering, well, we outsource engineering work, circuit engineering, we don't have certain principles in the engineering office when it comes to, our city engineer is a civil engineer. We do outsource stuff when it comes to structural, architectural, different things that we've always had in the past and we continue to outsource, and we don't have those principles in-house.
Okay.
So we're eliminating the senior civil engineer.
No, the
I'm sorry.
The junior civil.
The senior civil is just vacant.
Just vacant. And we're hoping to
Okay,
fill,
I'm
we're
sorry,
hoping
thank
to fill
you.
it within, you know, at any time we can.
At that salary, at the 74,
Yes.
or whatever,
Next year, whatever next year is, whatever it's like.
taking 1,100 out.
Okay. And then the clerical aid, we're going from 2 to 1.
A opening currently in the code enforcement office for the clerical aid. We can look at that moving out to an IPS 3, and be able to perform a lot more duties rather than just the clerical aid where we're getting a phone, filing. We'll do a lot more than an IPS 3. We'll do more comprehensive reports.
The difference in salary is less than $3,000, but the requirements and the job requirements and job duties are more significant. With $3,000, I think the IPS 3 report is worth we'll get more bang in the buck for that.
And the fleet manager,
Oh, can you just go back on that one, please? I'm sorry. So is there a current vacancy, or are we moving the person who was?
Current vacancy.
So there is a vacancy on that right now. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, Ms. President.
that's okay. And the fleet manager's position is being eliminated.
No, the fleet manager's position will be created right now. That was being performed by the solid waste supervisor, who was just reallocating for a fleet manager. We always had a fleet manager, he retired, who was running under the title as a solid waste supervisor. And we just want to move that, just correct that to a fleet manager. And that is currently being held as an acting fleet manager, splitting his time between sewer, is Joe Triano, will move into the vacancy of Foley, will have when he retired as the fleet manager, who's appropriating the right titles of the right position.
And what is the proposed salary for that?
72,
No. The new salary will be 64,768.
64, 7.
Right.
And previously, Concord only had that position at 73,7. So it's also
And I'm sorry, who are we moving into that position? What is that person doing right now?
Joseph Triano.
He's been doing that.
Yeah, he's been doing that since retired.
And-
He's doing great.
But what line does he hold on the budget right now? What position?
What does it hold now?
Yeah.
Stormwater control officer.
And who will be taking that position?
That would be absorbed right now with the MS4 officer. MS4 and stormwater kind of work together. The stormwater collection system and rainfall that goes into through catch basins.
Okay. And then the solid waste supervisor.
That's what we're
No,
taking.
that's-
We're going to take that money to pay the fleet
This-
manager.
Right.
We'll move the money out of the solid waste into
Moving from waste to moving it into mechanical division.
So I assume that all of these positions as proposed here will be reflected in the new budget?
Correct.
Okay.
yes.
I, for one, feel like it's something that we should be looking at when we go into the budget process. I just feel like this is naturally part of the budget process that we'll be looking at. I think these are big changes, and I personally would like to digest them before, I think we have a big picture to look at coming up very shortly. And so my preference would be to hold on this until we tackle the entire budget, but I don't know how everybody else feels.
Are any of these positions civil service? Do they have to take civil service exams, and which ones are we talking about?
They all
Every single one of these will be civil service exams. Your hand up or no?
Oh, go ahead. You mentioned, not you, but the documents you mentioned, there are some retirements in OGS. How many retirements do you have at this point?
We had 2 people retire, right now we have a vacancy with Tom Capaldi retired in February. That was the monthly supervisor with acting as a fleet manager.
Tom Foley, William Jacob.
Billy Mazekas retired, and we recently hired, I just interviewed for the assistant lead manager also.
So that's 3. You also mentioned code enforcement, code department, there's a requirement.
No, that's the change.
That's the
code.
change.
We're going to change from clerical aid to IPS 3.
That was a resignation as a clerical aid. And go down there, and so we bring in an IPS 3 who's capable of doing and performing more duties to make the office more efficient.
Okay, thank you.
So since these are civil service positions, and we want to eliminate that, we can do that without just eliminating them, that we have to go through the whole process, and then there's other positions that you're creating that we need to.
We're not eliminating.
It says
Eliminate the clerk.
eliminate position.
There's a position there, but we're changing it to an IPS 3. I don't believe the clerical aid was a tested position. I have to refer to Tiffany, but they don't believe the clerical aid is a tested position, but the IPS 2 and the IPS 3s are. So our recommendation to go to an IPS 3, that would be a tested position. So whoever is awarded that position, it would be pending the successful completion of the civil service exam.
Other questions? What is the general consensus about dealing with this now versus dealing with it while we're ripping apart the entire budget and seeing the big picture?
As far as I'm concerned, I mean, I'm not certainly, we should be doing that in a couple of weeks, so we would start, so, I would certainly be in favor of that, I would support that. We just take a look at it, looking at the budgets.
Anyone else have any feelings about it? Comments? Preferences?
I'm certainly willing to wait as well.
I'm sorry?
I'm willing to wait as well. They're going to go through the budget process. The mayor will be giving us his budget on October 1st, and I think it's all going to come to us anyway, whether it comes to us next Monday or 2 weeks from now. I think I'd rather really take a look at the whole thing, and 2 weeks is not going to make any difference. They're getting paid, they're in positions already, so it's not going to make a difference if we move on this now or in 2 or 3 weeks.
And I'd like to see the lines where, you know, we don't have anything budgeted versus the lines where we do have it. I just think it's much more comprehensive and it's right around the corner, so. Anyone else? Input, comments?
I'm good with it, but either way.
Mr. Riggi? Find a way. So I think we'll hold this until we enter the budget process. Did you have anything you wanted to add, Mayor McCarthy?
I'm sorry?
Did you have anything you wanted to add before we move on? And then we're gonna call for a public hearing on, look at that, next item, the 2017 budget, right around the corner.
Hello, everybody. As you know, according to the charter, City of Schenectady needs to call a public hearing for the new 2017 city budget. You know, the budget needs to be approved on or before November 1st of 2016. The mayor will be delivering to the city council before or on October 1st the proposed 2017 budget, which would include capital projects, general fund, water fund, sewer, and all. What we're doing here, we'd like to request for the public hearing to be held on October 11th. It's a Tuesday. Monday the 10th is Columbus Day. So we're just we're recommending that you approve this public hearing to go ahead on that day.
So motion to call for the public hearing.
Second.
Mr. Kosher, seconded by Mr. Palmetti, seconded by Mr. Kosher. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Is there anything else to come before the Finance Committee this evening?
Motion adjourned.
Moved by Mr. Kosher, seconded by Mr. Palmetti. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We're adjourned.
Call to order administrative efficiency. The first item for discussion is ceremonial resolution on Classical Music Month. I don't think there's any explanation.
Who's coming for this?
That would be the Schenectady Symphony Orchestra.
Aye.
Next one would be for National Women's Health and Fitness Day, which is actually September 28th.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Third would be Little League month. A little strange it wasn't last month, given the Little League World Series, but
Little League is all done. It really is Little League month in September?
yeah.
So she's hard to do it.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Next would be National Suicide Prevention Month. All those, can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And Mr. Mudabaran will actually present the next one. It's Hispanic Heritage Month. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And lastly, from my perspective, the VFW Day, September 29th.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Next would be Mr. Rigg.
The 11th is going to be a busy day. We're Schenectady will join in for the walk from New York City. Well, there's going to be a walk from Schenectady to Albany on the 11th. For actually school funding for our children. I think we're short about $50 million from the last figures we're looking at. So it's to show support for this effort.
We have a motion.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Next would be discussion on a local law to reduce citywide greenhouse gas emissions. The idea is to, as it states in the packet, by the year 2050 to reduce greenhouse gas emissions citywide by the year 2050. There's several components to this. First of all, a health component also works with the Smart Cities initiative. Much of Smart Cities initiatives is environmental sustainability, improving quality of life for citizens. And I think it's just overall a good policy given some of the things that we've done regarding solar panels, as well as moving towards environmental sustainability throughout the city.
So what does this local law, what are we putting in here? This is
Basically, the idea is the goal is by 2050 to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 80% by 2050.
And is this somewhere, the 2050, is that a date somewhere? Who's got that date?
That's just, it goes with some of the United Nations initiatives with different environmental sustainability packages they're putting together, as well as some of the things that New York City and some other areas have done. Yes, it's for us.
I think having the goal is really good, but I don't think we need a law to do it. I think a resolution, committing our, our focus in this direction in reduction of greenhouse gases would do it for me as a commitment type situation. Certainly, like I said, setting goals are always good, and I'm fine with making a pledge, but the law aspect of it, I think maybe.
If that's the consensus, I'm fine with that.
Well, that's just me. I don't know about everybody else. I can only speak for me.
I agree. I support that.
Anything else? So then maybe we can move forward on a resolution for this.
Yeah.
I'll move this resolution in support of this, yes.
Second, Ms. Porterfield, all those in favor?
Aye.
The next item for consideration is a local law to require solar energy systems, as well as city smart city sensors to be permitted and installed on all new commercial buildings where applicable. Obviously, solar panels is dependent upon the sun, but this again fits in with the solar initiative that we passed earlier in the year, as well as assist with the Smart Cities initiative that the mayor's undertaking. Any questions? Yes.
I'm going to call aside. What you're asking here for is a requirement to have all new commercial building installed with these equipments. Who are going to foot the cost?
That would be the commercial development.
So we're imposing on them to additional costs?
It's not necessarily a cost in the sense of that you can make a deal like the county has and the city has with these different solar companies to have solar panels on the property itself, but the idea is to reduce the electrical intake with greenhouse gas emissions, and just overall fits with some of the things that we put in earlier in the year.
But at the end of the day, it will come with a cost, and somebody has to pay for it. And you get a requirement. And this is a requirement, so they have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I personally feel like we are not in a position with development to insist that businesses be, required to do this. I think that, we're still trying to encourage business to come into the city, and I'm not comfortable with requiring that of community development.
I agree, Mr. President.
What about the smart cities piece?
I don't understand what you're saying.
Well, if we need to put the smart city sensors in certain areas where there might not be poles available, we could use the rooftops of certain buildings, and this would allow the city to be able to do that.
I think that would fall on the city then. I don't think the cost should fall on our businesses when we get to the point of engaging in the smart cities rollout and all of that, which we have a lot of discussion, because certainly, we have a lot of discussion to find out how we would possibly pay for that going forward. But I think to put that onus on our businesses, if the smart cities initiative is something we want to do as a city, then I think it's our responsibility as a city to find out how we're going to pay for that.
We're letting them allow us to put our equipment on the roof.
But again, I think that, I thought you were saying we would require them to have a retrofit. But I just don't think that's something we should force on business.
So regarding the smart city, aren't we going to put these smart city equipment, are they going to be on the pole them with the lights? So why are we want to require that we put them on the rooftops?
Because in some areas you might need to put them on commercial buildings where there might not be poles, or you need to have different sensors in different areas. It's just not necessarily that we're going to do it, but allow us the ability to do it.
Well, I think the idea of discussion here a little while ago is more centered around lights, street lights, street pole, and the sensors are going on these poles with the cameras. Putting it on the roof, what sense would that make?
Well, in the sense that they talk to each other, and some of the sensors, not necessarily lights, but some of the sensors that are available, they communicate, and it would hit areas where it might not be able to otherwise. Yep.
So has there been any discussion with our economic development team in terms of this, because they're the ones that attract businesses to the city, and so I think they would have probably want to have some input in there as we have that discussion. I certainly would like to hear what their input would be on this before we move forward.
Okay. I guess we shall move on. The last item for consideration under the administrative efficiency is a local law for smoke-free cars for persons less than the age of 16. Basically looking to reduce secondhand smoke exposure to children. Respiratory disease is one of the largest diseases for young people. Adds on extra costs for all of us, and they really don't have much say. It's just a protection item for children. Yes?
Are there other municipalities that have instituted similar local law?
I don't know about municipalities per se. I know it's been done in places like Maine, as well as in California, Arkansas, and Louisiana, and Puerto Rico and some Canadian provinces, but that obviously doesn't go with us.
My only concern is how it would be regulated. So I would be interested in having some more information on how those communities actually regulate that. I mean, I think secondhand smoke for anyone should be minimized. But I would just like to know how they enforce it. You know, how the communities that have it in place
I
enforce
suppose
it.
they would enforce it just like the other smoking laws that we've passed earlier in the year as well as before, so. But we can try to get that information.
Great. So, and I definitely think that having a smoke-free environment is just good for everyone overall in terms of health and wellness. But you mentioned how we enforce the other ones, and basically the other tobacco-free regulations that we've put forward and more will be coming, just throwing that out there. It's really about people complying. There's really no enforcement that can be done. There just isn't. I mean, there could be if we had thousands of police to say, you know, don't cigarettes, et cetera, and so on. But it really becomes part of compliance on the part of the public. So, and this, I think we just have to kind of do the same thing. What do you do if you see a person smoking with it in a car? What really happens then? So, it would be interesting. And I guess I also, even though I think it's really wrong to subject children or anyone to secondhand smoke, if someone's riding in their private vehicle, do we have really the right to say to what you can and can't do in your private vehicle? That becomes a question for me.
Yeah, I have a similar question, but unfortunately we do it all the time, don't we? With seatbelt laws, with other laws. So.
A little different though, but okay.
Yeah. I mean, I have a similar question, similar issue with that myself. I honestly do. But given the amount of respiratory disease in young children, and it's increasing, I thought this was a move to protect kids and as much as we possibly could, and help to try to reduce some of the costs that healthcare is just increasing. I mean, kids are getting ever-increasing rates of asthma, ever-increasing rates of COPD, and it leads to cancer, and, you know, it's no fault of their own.
Right. Well, I think it's a good idea to really do an educational piece around it, to recommend it, and do all that. I'm just, I guess my question really falls in, can we really make it a local law? Because I would definitely support, you know, trying to move forward and help people realize from the wellness perspective, all of that, but I just don't know that we could make it a local law. I support the concept.
Anything else?
And I agree with the concept 100%. I witnessed it at the daycare center. Some woman's out there with little kids around her smoking away. Ladies, not just in cars, ladies with a stroller smoking with them. Like you said, John, the child doesn't have anything to say about it. That's the problem. So if we can find a way, maybe through education, a little more education, certainly worthwhile to look into for us to support something.
Okay, Mr. Mover.
It's a good idea, support here. But can we look at how we can able to enforce it, and how we can able to educate the public out there, and maybe on a broader scale, and bring it back to us, and fine tune it?
Sure. See what we can come up with, and bring it forward to everybody so they can digest it.
Yes.
Anything further for administrative efficiency? Motion to adjourn. Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Do you want that on for 2 weeks, John?
Let me
Do you want to
see.
let me know?
I'll let you know. See
Okay.
what I can find first.
All right, call to order public service and utilities. Mr. LaFawn, water valve maintenance trailer.
Hi, thank you. Legislative, first legislative request from you for recommendation to authorize the purchase of a new water valve maintenance trailer for the water department. New water valve maintenance trailer actually allows us to automatically work the valves up and down on our electric wrench. We do have one portable battery one with batteries. Some of these valves are so big and they're torqued down so hard that the battery just doesn't have the torque. It's some large valves, 24s, 36. Also equipped with a vac, so as we get debris in here, so we can suck out, so we get the wrench on the nuts. Allow us to better perform the job in the water distribution system, perform maintenance up there. The bids were out on BidNet. We received one responsible bidder from Knox, with Harvard, Illinois. So, asking them to approve the purchase of that piece of equipment.
When was the last time that we purchased this piece of equipment?
The valve trailer, we've never had a valve trailer. We have a battery operated automatic valve operator, and that's probably been around for about 10 years now. This is a more robust unit. It's actually a tag along in the back of a truck. It actually has a compressor on there to do other work. It has the back down there to suck out that tube that goes down to the valve. Some of them are very deep. It has a 360-degree boom on there, so we can line up the valve, put it over the valve. Good example, when we're on station with a water break, it took us over an hour to close the valve by hand. Get a wrench on there by hand and just try to turn it. It takes a long time. We get a lot more damage from that water break. So this will allow us to perform the work that we need to do out in the field a lot quicker, a lot more efficient.
Okay, so also, how, what do we expect the lifetime of this particular piece of equipment?
Typically on equipment like this taken care of, probably anywhere from 12 to 15 years.
Mr. Ricky?
Yes. Are we looking at a program then to regularly exercise the valves when we can?
Yes.
The ones that
Our
work?
big ones. I mean, there's probably 100,000 valves in the city. I mean, if you look at every intersection, there's 4 to 6 valves. We just can't exercise every valve. We have line gate valves, we have just valves, bracelet hydrants, but these are in particular larger valves. When you get to that breaker of the valve, there's a lot of times we just really can't get on the nut because over the years you've got sand and debris that's filled up that little cap that's in the road, and this will help us get that clean and get that clear. So, but yes, we do work on ours. It's been a little longer than I would like to see on our large valves because you're talking 400 to 500 turns on a 600 on a 36-inch valve. So it gets very difficult.
No, that was one question, that's fine.
I guess the only other question, so we have a budget line item for this?
Yes, it was budgeted last year for this year's capital.
Oh, all right.
Just question.
Yes.
This is, well, you went into this with an estimate. How much was your estimated cost?
Overall for this, it came in a little under these line items. And when we do something here in advance, we're anticipating where we're going to be, but it did not come in over.
Thank you.
That's always good news. Are there any other questions? Second?
Sorry. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Surprise.
Aye. Okay, Mr. Bond, the second agenda item?
The second request, you have in front of me, and I do apologize, something says it was 4 contracts. On the bottom it says 3, but it says 4. Okay, so there's a typo, and I do apologize for that. This is part of the, as you're familiar, wastewater treatment plant is a speedies permit, permit. We have certain requirements and limits that have to be met. Approximately a year and a half ago, when we received our speedies permit, we had a new limit for pouring residual to Mohawk River. Mohawk River classification of the river is getting cleaner. We currently will not be able to meet the new requirement for chlorine removal. We currently have a limit of 1.3 milligrams per liter. I believe that they let that down to 0.3 now. We did look at other alternatives, which is UV, which is whites, 4,000 whites. We looked at different chemicals. Too costly or too much energy to be put in, all this ultraviolet light bulbs. The most cost-effective method was to go to the dechlorination system, which is sodium bisulfate. So the system was designed as a bid, and there were 4 contracts, and the recommendations were to the 4 lowest responsible bidders. For a total of $3,055,600. Another contract with Jersey Construction at $2,159,000 with a $150,000 allowance. Flood Mechanical for the chemical, $197,100, no allowances. JK Plumbing and Heating for the heating, $159,500. And Harold Mark Food for the electrical, $390,000 with $25,000 allowance. That was budgeted, and it is right now under budget from what we estimated year.
It is under budget. Okay, could you just explain for the allowances, especially the ones for 150,000?
Pardon me?
The allowances? The first one's for 150,000.
I have to go back to the bid specs. There's a 50,000 gas service allowance because our gas main comes into the plant, we may have to be modified, we will have to work with National Grid. That gas main has to be moved, so there are some things that are under the ground that we don't have exact locations for things when they put buildings in. So we did request some allowances for things that we need the unknowns, okay? And they're just during construction. There's always some change orders, we don't like change orders, but if we put some allowance in there right now, we can foresee that, the plant there's so many modifications to the plant going back to the early 1900s. There are probably some things in the ground that we're not going to have covered under our existing drawings at the moment. So those are just allowances in case we need the funds.
Okay. So even with the allowances, we're still under
Yes.
what we budgeted for last year, from last year? Other questions? Mr. Mudavera?
These allowances, it's not used.
It's not used, it's just, yep, it will be remaining in that capital line.
Any other questions?
These work are going to go in conjunction with each other?
Yeah, that typically when we do a project that size, the general contractor is going to take care of the site work, the foundations in the building, and then we have the plumbing contractor, the mechanical contractor, and the electrical contractor, all the other foundations. They're all prime contracts, there's no subs, they're all prime contracts, those individuals.
And we have done work with all of these contractors
Yes.
before?
Yes.
Thank you.
And this was reviewed by our consultant prior to when bids came in. We went to our consultant, C.M. Smith, and reviewed it to all the responsible contractors.
And so, we just, none of these contractors were leased, and we may have to just right off, and you can ask our affirmative action office. Did we ever have any concerns with any of these contractors?
Not
in terms of meeting their goals?
No. And again, when we do our meeting, Miriam will come in and go over all the requirements for affirmative action.
Okay, thank you. Other questions? Okay.
Well, I will move it because it is really exciting to spend this amount of money on such a thing. So I want to be the one to move it.
Second.
I moved it first, but that's.
I'm sorry, Mr.
I'll
Reedy.
second it.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you
Okay,
very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Take that one for myself, Mr. Reedy.
The last agenda item under public service utilities is the Medicab regulations discussion, which we began quite a while ago, but we talked about in our last committee meeting. And at that time, I said that I had some concerns to make sure that what we were doing, we weren't duplicating anything that was done by the state, being done by the state of New York through the Department of Health or the New York State Department of Transportation. So I just have a couple handouts here that I'm going to give. Oh, I'll give them up. I'm not sure how many meetings that, so. Just in terms of a little background, I don't know if we discussed this before, but there was a time where the Medicaid transportation was being administered by the County Department of Social Services, and that was prior to 2011. And then in between the 2010 and 11 state budget, they gave it to the Commission of Health the authority to administer this. So this is all done by the administration by the state of New York, which may be better so it's all contained in one place, but it's a little difficult to chase down who you should be talking to in terms of this. So many of you may have gotten, did everyone get the letter from Upstate Transportation? Did you get the letter? Okay. So this gentleman had some questions and wanted to talk about the medallions, et cetera. And I've tried to call him a couple of times, not heard back from him. So I'm not really sure what his concerns are or what his input is. But what I really want to make sure that we did before we passed any legislation or, and, you know, implemented something locally, that we had the information from the state of New York. I was able to reach to get the phone number, because it's moved around from who was in charge of it. I was able to get the phone number from the gentleman who was in charge of it, New York State Department of Health. Unfortunately, we have not been able to connect. My goal was not to just have a conversation with him, but to make sure that we actually have a face-to-face. Because I want to make sure that that people that the Medicabs are complying with, and what their compliance regulations are, not just in terms of taking care of their equipment, but in terms of what they're required to do in terms of their drivers and who they can serve and all of that. So what I passed out to you is from this document, Medicaid Transportation, which comes from the New York State Department of Health, just tells you the modes of transportation, how a person gets the transportation. I think we knew a little bit about that. Because I know there's been some concerns and discussion around the fact that there were people that were using it for things other than the intended use. For sure. Right, okay. And other than the intended use. But it doesn't say Price Chopper's one, but just so that you're aware, there are other things that people, it's not just limited to what you may consider, like, for instance, there are some, what's covered, it talks about the primary care physician, various therapies, dental care, and then there's some things that are outside of that, like people who have a traumatic brain injury, they have a waiver. And so I don't know, it doesn't really drill down into what is covered for those folks. So that's what kind of thing I'd like to know. If somebody has a TBI, does that mean they get to go to Price Chopper or something like that? So there's a lot more to really in research before I think that we can, you know, we have the answers to that. Because I think we need to have all those answers as we think about regulating them locally. So that's where I am at this point, and we'll continue to, and I expect by within the next 2 weeks I will be able to sit down with the gentleman from the State Department of Health and provide more information on that. Yes.
And just for clarification, I think, just so that I know, I think as a council, what we're looking to regulate is the cleanliness and the condition of the cab. I don't believe we're interested in looking at really what they do, other than if they're doing something outside of the bounds of what they should be doing, right?
I understood that differently, Ms. Moudon.
I think we're looking at maybe the medallions too.
Right, but the medallions would just allow us to know who was operating the city and bring them in so we could check the quality of their vehicle, right? Not necessarily.
And the driver.
And the driver,
Right.
yes.
And so, my point is, if the state is already regulating the drivers,
Right,
that's something that we should say to them, now we need to do this as well.
Right.
So I think that we need to have all the facts before we move forward. And we discussed this, and I don't think we came up with whether or not there would be a cost for medallions, because obviously there's already some associated costs that we have. So we would have to say, is it going to cost us? And even how many they are. That's another thing. I wasn't able to find like a comprehensive list of Medicabs to the state of New York. It's like maybe it's hidden in some of all the stuff they have out there. I wasn't able to find it, so I figured I just asked this gentleman, is there a list of those that are regulated by the state, certified, licensed, or whatever term that they use? So we can make sure that the ones that we have locally are fall into that.
Sounds good, for 2 weeks.
2 weeks, that's all I have, unless there's something else that's something else on based on that. Yes.
Ms. Brazo, did you find out from Mr. Caputo what the drop dead line is?
Nope, I
Because
went on vacation, Mr. Ricky.
Because somebody's been asking, and I think I directed them correctly. They said they have a couple of new cabs, and they don't know what to do with the meters, but the law is passed. They can have them sealed now, correct?
Sure they can.
At the new rate.
Yes, absolutely.
All we're looking at is a drop dead time when they
Yes,
have to.
where everybody gets in, and I promise you, I will make that promise.
I mean, it's not.
I was shirking my responsibilities, sitting by the ocean. I'm gonna be,
Just one other thing, is there anything on the Oak Street Bridge? Did the contracts come back?
Last update I got, we heard from Amtrak that we had a change of address, where the person was going to review it, and that the executive only received it, they're getting it to the person, and we should be back.
sounds like we need to do another newspaper article.
I'm sorry.
Said it sounds like we need to do another newspaper article.
So you got the jump.
I mean, that's kind of silly.
Everything is progressing for that.
Is there anything else to come before?
Maybe I'll be able to go short way to Ferraris for cannoli. One of these days, before I'm still upright.
We did cover the graffiti on the barrier.
You could walk across the bridge.
That's true. I can park at the bottom.
Just park at the bottom of this
You
one.
can walk off your
Maybe
canal.
we kind of a shuttle service.
I gotta think about that.
We'll piggyback them off your bicycles.
Anything else to come before public service and utilities?
I move to adjourn.
Okay, second.
I will second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned, thank you.
And I will call to order government operations. And the Civilian Police Review Board, we have a reappointment, I believe, Mr. McCarthy.
Resubmitted to you, Dr. Julia Holcomb. Just to speak highly of her background, her talents, and ask for favorable consideration to
Been a great servant, public servant thus far. Any questions, comments?
I'm over. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, very good. And is there anything else to come before us, Ms. Gordon?
I'm not even sure this is the best committee, but I'd like to request a ceremonial resolution to be presented at an event on October 8th for the Hughes Williams Helping Hands Committee. Those of you who may not have known him, Hughes Williams was a person in the community who was always helping people. And he passed away, but there was a group of people that came together and continued to do the kind of work that he did. It took a lot more of them, just one of him. It took a whole group of them to do it. So they're having their 60th anniversary celebration, and this is the fifth one. So I'd like to be able to present to them at their dinner on October 8th, a ceremonial resolution.
Sounds good to me. Can I have a motion?
I'm over. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Now, is there anything else to come before government operations? Motion to adjourn?
adjourn, please.
Closure, second by Mr. Valenti. All those in favor? Aye.
Right. And we'll call over the Committee on Public Safety, and we have one item before us. We have to move into executive session to discuss the contract negotiations with the Schenectady Fire Department. And can I have a motion to go into executive session?
Would you want to, yeah, and we can just call claims to order right in executive session, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
There's nothing in claims that's not executive session, right? We
Correct.
only have
It's on the
one.
agenda.
That's
Okay.
right, one item.
Fine. Okay.
All right, moved by Mr. Motovaran,
Second by me.
by Ms. Brazel. All in favor, say aye. We are now going into executive session.